What's going on, everybody? Today we're talking about Sonic 3, the fastest, funniest, and dare I say the most intense entry in the Sonic franchise. Before we jump into it, I wanted to just remind you that I have a recap of the entire Sonic franchise, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and the Knuckles spin-off series. So make sure you go check that out before you see Sonic 3. I'll leave a link for it down in the description. Having said that, let's get started.
Who is this guy?
He is much more impressive than the hedgehog I fought previously.
Dude, I'm standing right here.
I've said it so many times at this point, the creators of this franchise know exactly what the Sonic fans want, and they've just cracked the code to how to make these movies work. And this movie right here is the best example of that. At its core, this is Sonic's movie, and it always will be, but the way that Sonic 3 balances all the characters that we've grown to love is just perfect. You have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and now Shadow. They all have their moment in this movie, and it never feels overcrowded. Now, the focus is on Sonic and Shadow, but Tails and Knuckles are felt every time they're on screen, and they really do play well off of each other. And as far as the story goes, it is very predictable, but I mean, what'd you expect? It's still a good story, though. Now, let's talk about the big elephant in the room, or should I say the ultimate life form, Shadow. Now, right out of the gate, they show you exactly why Shadow is so feared and how powerful he is, but they also give you the backstory of why he is the way that he is, why he wants revenge, and I think that's so important to show that in your villain, make us sympathize with them, or at least understand what they're doing. Now, I will admit it did take me a second to get used to hearing Keanu Reeves as Shadow. I just kept hearing John Wick. But after a while, I did get used to it, and no, Shadow does not get a pencil, if you're wondering. Now, one of the things that really stands out in this movie is the theme of family and belonging. It's a thread that ties Sonic and Shadow together in such a beautiful way. Sonic finds strength in his friends and family, while Shadow's journey shows what happens when you lose that connection. That's pretty deep for a kid's movie, but it does add an extra layer of emotional depth that the other entries didn't have. And just like every other entry in this franchise, the visuals in this one are great. For example, it's a weird example, but it is an example. There's a close-up of Knuckles where you can see his eyes. He's looking left, he's looking right, and you can just very subtly see the red veins on the side of his eyes. Something that I wouldn't have caught if I was watching it at home on the smaller screen, but on the big screen you can see that. There is so much detail in this movie, and details like that, small little things like that, show how much love went into this. And now let's talk about my favorite part of the movie, Jim Carrey. Can we all just agree that he was born to play Dr. Robotnik? Every single time that he's on screen, I feel like they just told him do whatever you want, be as crazy as you want, and he listened. Now in this movie, we get double the Jim Carrey because he plays Dr. Ivo Robotnik and then he also plays Dr. Gerald Robotnik. The way that they interact is just so wild, and the things that they do and say just come completely out of left field. There's a montage scene about halfway through the movie that just had me laughing the entire time. The music, the performances, it just all meshed so well. He was born to play this role. I can't even begin to imagine these movies without him. If he doesn't come back for future installments, I don't know how they're gonna fill that void. The action in this movie is insane. It's easily the best in the franchise, and especially in the third act. It's got everything you'd want: spectacle, laughs, and even a little bit of heart. It's like the filmmakers saved their best ideas for last and just threw everything at us at the end, and let me tell you, it does work. Also, quick heads up, there is a mid-credits scene that every Sonic fan needs to stay for, and there's also one at the very end of the credits. It's super short, it's about 5 seconds long, so stick around if you're curious, but don't expect too much from the second one. So to wrap things up, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was a blast. It's darker, it's more intense, and it's filled with incredible visuals, action, and tons of laughs. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel and plays it mostly safe, but it does continue to do what the series does best and feels like a natural progression for the franchise. Shadow was a great new addition to the franchise. The theme of family hits on all the right notes, and Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, what more could you ask for? I put a poll out in my community asking what they thought of Sonic 3, and you all have spoken. It seems like the majority of you all loved it. Leading up to this, my expectations for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was an A because the franchise is just so consistently good. And I am happy to say that my final grade for the movie is an A. This is a movie that can appeal to almost anyone who watches it for one reason or another, and if you enjoy these movies and you haven't heard the good news yet, Sonic 4 is officially on the way with a 2027 release date. Thanks for watching my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I want to know what you thought about the movie down in the comments. Did it hit your expectations? Was Shadow everything you hoped for? Let me know. But until the next video, everybody, see you later.